text, those stories, and other things that actually didn't make that now, well, shall we say, lame but infamous book. Hi, morning, Neil Sean here. Thank you for joining me today. And as ever, we're touching on a topic that has really been explosive this week. Really explosive for all the wrong reasons, of course, because there's nothing more, well, sordid than an ex-royal employee dishing the dirt. And we've seen many of them over the years, of course. There was a press officer who recently launched a few years back his tell-all book, which wasn't really that tell-all, simply because, of course, our gracious Majesty the Queen had been very wise to keep them at arm's length. But in this particular instance, we're talking, of course, about two ex-royals, Harry and Meghan, who were seemingly not that clever at really learning who and not and what to deal with. Of course, we're talking about the former communications officer, Jason North, who then decided, of course, to quit working for Harry and Meghan as they decided to Megxit. Not allowed to say that word. Prince Harry gets really angry. Apparently it's a troll that started it. I always thought it was quite a fun sort of statement, actually, when you think about exactly what the royal couple decided to do. But here, as ever, is where the story gets interesting for me. Simply because, as we now know, Harry and Meghan did both involve themselves to some degree in helping put that Finding book together. And I think what's interesting about that is when you look deeper and deeper into the text, you can see exactly how they were trying to put the narrative together. But as ever, there's another twist, and according to a very good source, those particular stories that then had to go through the lawyers of said book simply didn't believe them. Not the first people, eh? Now, we actually don't know the contents exactly in great detail of some of the subject matter that was passed on. Now, what I'm surmising is that the stories that they couldn't get into the book, they tried to get out, of course, through Oprah Winfrey. Let's suggest, for instance, as ever, allegedly, the racist comment. Now, this would have been very difficult to get through into the book because the lawyers would have needed full concrete evidence. You couldn't simply just have a hearsay. So that's why in the Oprah Winfrey interview, it was a casual throwaway remark, which Harry then basically said he'd never reveal the details of. But, you know, nice enough to just dump his whole family in there in the meantime. As I say, a very good source tells me that there are many, many stories that simply could not be included in that book of which Harry and Meghan decided to assist with, simply because they couldn't get them through the lawyer, and more importantly, they seemed outlandish and totally unbelievable. Now, of course, what we do know, thanks to the fact that we've learned that Harry and Meghan did assist with the book, they possibly would have thought that it wouldn't have come back to them. After all, up until now, allegedly, they'd insisted they had nothing to do with the book, as had the authors. And they haven't really, not in a direct way, but in an indirect way, they've tried to shape, once again, their own media narrative. And once again, that's come out as, well, seemingly something of a tissue of lies. Neil Sean in the heart of London.